Hello and welcome. It's The Chat and I am Manny. My guests on the program is probably one of the best known broadcasters in Nigeria.
Jacob Akinyemi Johnson, JAJ, as he is also known, is a broadcaster, journalist, on-air personality, news anchor, copywriter, media and broadcasting consultant with nearly 4 decades of uninterrupted service to the electronic media. Prior to joining the FRCN, Jacob had completed his secondary education at the prestigious St. Gregory's College, Ikoyi, Lagos. He is known to have started broadcasting in 1979 with a then NBC2 AM/FM stereo in Lagos, Nigeria. He is arguably one of the best on-air personalities ever on FM stereo broadcasting in Nigeria. He gained recognition almost immediately with his unique style of presentation, and by 1983, that same year, he was named Radio Personality of the Year. JAJ has contributed immensely to the development of the often relegated hip-hop genre, not like his influence in Afropop music is any less recognized. With a unique and sonorous voice almost effeminate, JAJ was a very captivating on-air personality that did not only win many admirers but also won so many laurels. This include the prestigious Fame Awards, Amen Awards, and NMA Awards. While he has greatly excelled as a news anchor and broadcast journalist, his skills in copywriting also steadily grew. In 1997, JAJ resigned from Radio Nigeria and joined the Silverbird Group. On air and in the industry, JAJ is famously known as the Mecca-Don. His time at the Silverbird Group has seen him grow to the position of the General Manager, Creative Development. In 2007, JAJ was awarded the Best Radio Presenter of the Year at the City People's Awards. Jacob Akinyemi Johnson is married with children.
JJ, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much for having me on.
JAJ, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. You're looking always the same. I was just, before coming to, the studio, saying that at the advent of FM broadcasting in Nigeria, you are one of the best known voices.
Well, when I joined, it was FRC2.
FRC2.
And then shortly after became RN2.
RN2.
Yes.
And you've seen that station through its phases of development.
Yes, I did.
And then suddenly left.
But I had to leave at some point. I think I had done my time there.
Your going into broadcasting was by accident, wasn't it?
It was accidental, actually, because I took someone else for an audition. And when I got there, I was asked to be part of it as well. So reluctantly, I agreed.
So you had no intention of going
at that
into
point,
broadcasting
not
at that point.
It was the other guy who actually wanted the job.
Yeah. And
I knew someone who worked there who was, I think, head of presentation or some senior presentation officer at the time. Rosalind Ogbango, who eventually became Rosalind Ogunro. Yes, and she said, okay, bring the guy along. So I took the guy along, and when I got there, I was asked to see Maris Ugada, and he said, both of you here for the audition? I said, no, it's actually him. And he said, I'd like you to be part of it as well. And I said, okay, for the heck of it, I will. And when I started, I think after the second or third line of what I was asked to read, the guy stopped and said, hey, how come you sound so good? Where were you born? I said, okay, I was born in the UK. And he said, oh, okay, now I understand where that accent is from, or whatever. Anyway, I continued with the audition. And before I left, he took me to some other office. I don't know at the time what office it was, probably some HR office. Things were happening too fast. I wasn't expecting any of that. And that same day, I was asked to come back. It was almost as if I, got the job. And the guy I took along was dumbfounded.
How difficult was it at that time?
Well, the truth is, we had to work with what we had. And we were used to what we had. and we thought what we had at the time was the best that we had. And Radio 2 was head and shoulders above many other stations, so we were actually privileged to have the kind of equipment that we had at the time. It was not digital, but it was okay.
Well, it was FM
worked.
stereo.
Yes,
and
it
the
was.
signals were a lot better.
The signals were very, very good. The signals were very good. The engineering was perfect. You know,
Everybody thought
yes.
that it was probably the signal that enhanced your voice, but it's not so, is it? You just
Well,
have a natural voice that, you
yes,
know, with some female, they felt it was just, you know, generally sexy.
The thing about voices, right, is I think different voices work differently, you know, when they go through amplification through equipment. In some cases, it enhances your voice. In some cases, the voice comes out just the way it is. And in some cases, it just doesn't work for that person. I think I just had it working for me, and, you know.
Yes, because at that time, your voice, along with some other colleagues of yours, your contemporaries, if I want to remember some of them, Willie Egbe, who else?
There was Ike Mokwa there.
Ike Mokwa there.
Yes, Jones Hussein.
Jones Hussein.
Yes.
So all great voices on radio at that time.
And the ones we met who were pioneers, the Tony Bigmaners and the Bentley DJs, you know, for instance, Tony I mean, he had to sit so far away from the mic because of the power
of his voice.
Yes,
wow.
Okay.
Right. Okay, but I mean, when you listen to radio these days, how does it make you feel?
Well, it's a different ball game right now. I listen to the radio now because I have to, not because I really enjoy listening to the radio. Things are different now.
Is it like you're tired? Does it sound more exciting?
It doesn't even have anything to do with that. It's just the way things are. And technology has changed a lot of things. Back in the day, most of those who listened to radio listened for mainly, FM radio at least, mainly to hear new songs. Now, as it is today, the radio stations are behind the listeners right now because of the downloads. In some cases, radio stations have to wait a little bit longer, you know, to get the music through the proper channels, you know, but the listeners don't have to. The listeners now just go online. In some cases, hack into music sites and they get the music.
That has some legal implications, doesn't it?
Yeah, but for the listener who just does that. So radio stations can do that. And there, of course, there's so many radio stations right now compared to the number we had then. You know, so that was also an advantage. You know, because like Radio 2 then had Lagos locked down. Lagos and, you know, and its environs, you know, until OGBC2 gave them a run for their money. But the truth is, right now, it's different from how it was, and that is expected because, I mean, the world itself is different. Even the way music is made now is different. You know, everything's different. But I'm a now person, right? I'm not an old school person. I'm a now person, and I just go with the flow. You know, what is trendy? I mean, like the music I listen to is the music of today. I'm not saying I don't appreciate the music of the past.
Yeah.
I do, but I listen to the music of today, and I'm looking forward to the music of tomorrow. And I guess that has also given me longevity. You know, I don't sit back and say, oh,
feel old about your days.
Yes, of 20 years ago, what I did 25 years ago.
How many years have you put in broadcasting? You know,
over 30.
Over 30.
Yeah.
Excellent.
A lot of people, including you, joined us teenagers. Some were already on radio at 16.
Yes.
You know, so
started early.
It was very early.
Right.
Straight out. Some actually started while they were still in high school. Fredo Shodi, I can recollect, was still in school in Ikene and was presenting on Radio Nigeria 2 at the time. He eventually joined. You know. So funny enough, I think it's even a lot harder now to get on radio if you're 16.
Did you develop anybody along the line as well, by way of mentoring? Did you?
There's so many. The list is endless, even to this very moment.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't want to bore you with names, but so many.
No, but eventually, Jacob, you left, Radio Nigeria. For what reason?
Many reasons. I was actually getting bored at some point because things just weren't changing.
Yes.
Actually things were getting worse. At FRCN at the time. And the whole that system was about to collapse. Like, if you ask me, it actually did collapse. I just didn't want to be part of the sinking ship.
It was getting very static. Nothing was moving.
Nothing was actually things. The station was in reverse at full speed. And I just didn't want to be part of a sinking ship.
Okay.
I would have left earlier, but back in the day, there weren't even that many stations you could go to. I mean, where else would you go at that time if it wasn't RN2? It was OGBC2 of Radio Lagos.
And so you got stuck with radio anyway.
Yes, and
what did you think? How did you think of getting out of that hole?
Well, we prayed and got down to our prayers rather, and I think it was President Babangida who a decree during his administration, a decree that led to the setting up of commercial stations, private radio stations, commercial broadcasting, yes, and Ben Murray Bruce had been waiting in the wings for that anyway. He had always wanted to do that, even as a concert promoter in the 80s, but nobody ever thought there'd be private radio in Nigeria at the time with the military regimes we had. It wasn't even a dream. So when Babangida came up with that, we knew our prayers had been answered.
Now, what are you doing now?
Well, presently I'm the general manager of creative development at Silverbird Communications. I still do a radio show every weekday evening at 7 o'clock, the Top 7. And I've been doing that since 1998, so that's like 20 years of doing that. And, I run into people that say, oh, when I was in high school, I used to listen. And some would say, oh, when I was in the university, I used to listen. And the consistency, it's a consistent show. It has never failed in its 20 years. It's on like clockwork.
So what are your duties now, away from the microphone?
Away from the microphone, search for talent, nurture talent, and a bunch of other things, policy.
I don't want that talent that you have nurtured or discovered to hear this. Who is he?
Sorry?
Who is this talent? Have you had to nurture enough talents on a Silverbird or generally?
Silverbird and generally.
Okay. It's not one of those names that I know, is it?
Maybe not. These are newer guys.
Oh, okay.
But in the past, as I said, there had been so many in the past. So many. I just don't even want to mention their names. But
yeah.
Yes. So I still do a lot of that.
How long do you hope to do this? You don't want to become a Methuselah on radio or TV. Or what else is there? Looking to the future, is there anything else you want to add to your career?
Well, it would still be a media thing. As you know, there are many branches, and over the years I've done a lot of other stuff than just strictly studio stuff. I have done the production of a lot of documentaries. That's one of the other things I do. Yes.
Working on television. How different does it really feel from working on radio?
Yeah, because even then on radio, back in the day, I was still doing some TV stuff. I was in Youth Scene at some point. I was in a program called Careers.
Well, it's not the same as working on a daily basis.
On a daily basis, yes. Yeah, but it's the same thing. A TV program is a TV program. There is a difference. Between radio and TV, but the difference is not really that much.
What do you tell people who are interested in going into television or radio, who wants the fame? Because, is it easy to manage fame?
Well, I think that depends on the individual. Some people can, some people can't. But I never advise anyone to go, into broadcasting for the mere fact that you want to search for fame. No. I tell you to go there. What I advise to go there and make an impact, and then fame will seek you.
Pick a question. Akinyemi Johnson, what is the impact of privatization of broadcasting on our democratic process?
I think that the radio stations have taken advantage of their independence, and in some cases they've taken the advantage to unbelievable levels. And I'm not saying this as something positive in all cases. I think in some cases it actually has been abused. But the independence of radio stations, or the media generally, is very important, and it will endure the democratic process.
I mean, you recall,
yes.
I mean, you have been part of both
Yes, I know.
processes.
Yes, I know.
Under the military government.
At a time when you were gagged, yes.
Exactly. So do you think so that there's more freedom now?
Oh, yes, there is. I mean, there's no comparison at all. However, the question is, has the independence been used properly? Now, that's another thing entirely. I don't really think so. I don't really think so. I don't think the media has been as, or maybe I should limit it to radio and TV, which is an arm of, a larger fraction of the media, has really played its part properly. I don't think it has helped in educating as much as it should. I think it has placed so much emphasis on sensationalism and on professionalism.
And politics.
Yes, and politics. Well, the truth is that the standard has greatly diminished. I mean, compared to the way it was, even in terms of ethics. Yes, I do. I'm saying this. Is categorically.
The standard of broadcasting, or the standard of presentation?
The standard, the entire thing.
Okay, it's diminished.
Has diminished, like the country itself.
Oh.
And that's just the truth.
What do you think?
All aspects of the country. Education, healthcare, name it. I mean, as it is right now, we're a nation with no values. We don't have a value system, and that's why things are the way they are. So that's why you have the police the way they are. That's why you have the civil service the way it is today, and that's why you have the media the way it is.
Well, what do you find most disgusting about the political process?
The process itself?
Yes.
Well, dishonesty. The dishonesty and the dishonesty in politics is unbelievable.
Some people think that the country is not really ready for politics, and we should just abandon politics and politicians
and then what?
And look for alternatives to it. I don't know what the alternatives are.
There's no alternative to democracy.
Yeah.
There's no working alternative to democracy. I think it's a practice in Nigeria. We have not practiced democracy the way we should. Now the election's around the corner, and everybody is gearing up for it, mainly the politicians. You would think that what they want to do when they get in would be something really, really tangible, but it's not. I don't know why the election itself is so important, or is seemingly so important, and not what comes after the election.
What about the caliber of politicians?
Well, I also blame that on the Nigerian people, because the truth is, Nigerians have not really been active enough in politics, and I'm not talking about discussing politics over drinks and bars. I'm talking about actual involvement, and if regular people don't, we're just going to recycle.
So you had better find your way into politics.
I don't know if I have the right temperament for it. I mean, you just have to know who you are.
Yeah.
There's some things you can do, and some things you can't. Some things if you try, you'd fail. But there are people out there. I think a lot of young people should get involved and not leave it to the so-called politicians. Because if
young,
you do,
enlightened, and exposed,
yes.
not just young.
Yes, exactly. young, light, and exposed.
How surprised, Jacob, were you, to find the French presidents coming to Nigeria and visiting the Africa Shrine?
Well, he's a French president to start with, and I mean, the French political system is very liberal. It is not as rigid as, for instance, the UK parliamentary system, and that's why things that ordinarily would be a scandal in the UK, for instance, a politician having affairs would not even make the news in France. That is not seen as anything, but in the UK it is. And Macron was here for I don't know how long, but for a long period.
Yeah, it was here as an intern.
And while he was here, he was just a typical Lagosian, who went out at nights, who went to bars, who went drinking, and coming back as a president, as the number one citizen of France, obviously is different from when he was here. But he felt at home, and there was a video of him speaking in pidgin English. I think it actually went viral. He was just natural, and the shrine.
What sort of example do you think that should, be setting for our own leaders? Because on that occasion, I saw quite a number of faces there that you would never, for the life of you, expect to see at the shrine. And they were all there. I thought it was a bit hypocritical, though. But, we could see a lot of people who you probably will say to, I'm going to the shrine, and they'll think differently of you. What message was his visit sending to such people?
Well, I don't know if there was any particular message. What I do think is that those who join the bandwagon should look at themselves and ask themselves why they had to do that, and why they had to wait for Emmanuel Macron for them to visit such places.
Where were you when you heard of the death of Michael Jackson?
Well, when he died, I was actually asleep. The time difference. Well, that has nothing to do with death anyway. But I mean, I woke up in the morning. I was going to go out to go jog, and I picked up my phone, which is what I normally do. And there were a few messages, and there was one from Alozie Uzuku, entertainment editor here, and I took a look at. I think it was on WhatsApp, and something about Michael Jackson died a few hours ago, and I was like, uh-oh. So it was shocking, and it was shocking to the world, I guess.
Will there be anybody like Michael Jackson again?
Well. Maybe not in the near future, in terms of his success. However, in terms of records, there have been a few artists who have beaten his records, but maybe not his impact. His Billboard records have been shattered. Even the records set by the Beatles have been shattered. But not the impact. It might take a while before he makes the kind of impact he made. So we can't just narrow everything down to the number of records you sell. Because more records are sold now. The world, as negative as it may, it may be, also has its positives. There are more billionaires in the world today than ever. So despite the meltdown a few years ago and all the other things that happen around the world, there are positives. The same way more music is sold than was sold then. So records will be beaten, but the impact may not be felt as much by even those who are breaking the records today as the impact that Michael Jackson had.
What are the 5 most important things you'd like to take along with you?
One, I would need a phone with data. That's one item, I guess. I would need a flashlight. I would need a jungle knife. And I'd need one of these things that you can sterilize water with, water for survival. And finally, I guess a firearm for protection, because you might just drop in an island with polar bears. I don't want to be a polar bear's supper or breakfast.
It's been nice talking to you, Jacob.
Yeah, thank you.
I had a real pleasure of seeing you again. Thanks for coming onto the program.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes. And that's how it's been on The Chat with Jacob Akinyemi Johnson. I am Manny. See you next time.